Hey everyone, my name's Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and today we are going to talk about A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. A Court This Cruel and Lovely is the book I picked for Fun Size Book Club for September of 2024. So this review is going to be a review up front and then book club discussion with spoilers at the end. A Court This Cruel and Lovely is the first book in the Kingdom of Lies series. I believe it is completed now. The fourth book came out, I think like a month or so ago, and I think it's done. I'm not 100, like, don't quote me on that. I have no idea. We just started it, so I don't know. It might be a completed series. My husband made me coffee so we can coffee and book club. First thing I have to say about this book, it is one of the titles that I will never, ever remember. I will never remember any of the titles of the books in the entire series because it's A Court of Blank and Blank, and there's so many of them and I can never remember, and all of them are the same. So, book one. So this book follows a girl named Priska. She lives in a Fae kingdom, but she's a human. It's like Fae adjacent. There was some war in the past with a lot of history that gets explained throughout the book. In their kingdom, they are born with magic and they go through a ceremony where the magic is taken from them and given back to the gods. When they hit a certain age, they are allowed to have the magic back. But if they are selfish and they keep their magic, they can be hunted and killed by the king's guard. Priska has her magic, and she has not reached the age that she can receive it back. So she lives in hiding. One day her magic is noticed, and she has to escape and falls into the hands of a group of mercenaries. But the mercenary that she recognizes, she has been seeing in her dreams for years. And she agrees to help them in exchange for safety to accomplish a task that they need her powers for. Star rating. I had a hard time giving this book a solid star rating. I was wishy-washy. I'm kind of like in between a 3 and a 4 because I liked the end, and like once it hit a certain point, I enjoyed it a lot more. I was leaning towards a 4, but it's like a very soft 4 for book one. So I'll say soft 4 for book one. It could have been a 3, and I'll explain why in a non-spoilery way. Spice rating on this one is a 3. There are multiple sexually explicit scenes that occur in the book. It is a fantasy romance, and it's long. So there's a couple. All right, so let me talk about the book specifically. First thing I wanted to say that is not about the content of the book, but it is about the book itself. And this is something that I do try to talk about the physical book if I have it, because I want you guys to know what you're purchasing. So I personally had a hard time. I was so excited to get the physical of this book because I'm trying to like redo my shelves and like shift things over, because right now it's a lot of books that are like YA, and that's not really what I read anymore. So I'm starting to get a lot more of the physical copies of the adult fantasy books that we're all reading. I'm trying to like redo and buy and all that. So I was so excited to get this book. I had a hard time physically reading this book. I had to go to my Kindle and read it there. Mainly like I didn't want to break the spine because the pages are not as wide, and like it's a very narrow book and it's thick. So like I kept feeling like I was going to break the spine and then it doesn't look pretty on the shelves. Just something to pay attention to when you are ordering it. If you do want the physical copy, I couldn't read the physical copy. It is pretty inside. Like she has a lot of artwork in there for like the chapters. Each person there's only 2 perspectives, but they have their own artwork, I think. Of course, I can't find Lorian's. But anyways, it is pretty. There is some like cool stuff inside, but I had a hard time physically reading this. So I read it on my Kindle. It is on Kindle Unlimited. So just like throwing that out there, just so you know what you're getting with the physical book. The content of the book. The book for me started out exciting. It started out with a bang, like things are happening. You have this like meetup, and then it turned into a traveling book. And every one of you should know how I feel about books with too much of a journey, traveling, whatever. I'm like, there's nothing that happens. I got a little lost in the middle, or in the kind of like beginning, middle. So it started off really good. Then there was a long journey, and then things started to pick up again. But there is a whole part where I just was like, why? And I'm not going to ruin this. I'll say it later. But there was a part in the beginning where I felt like it was really slow. And I was like, oh, okay, what's going on now? Like, why is this happening? I am losing my interest a little bit. And then it brought me back. Okay. So I did really like it. Once I kind of got back into it, I liked it a lot. There are lots of twists and turns and reveals and things that you didn't know and things that you learn. And it kept me entertained once I hit that turning point, for sure. And because of that, I ended up really liking the ending. So I will be continuing with the series. So when I say like, oh, soft 4, almost a 3, I liked the book. There's just a large chunk of it that I was like, ooh, this was really slow. I did like the magic. I did like the world that she built. I liked the characters a lot. It's kind of got this enemies to lovers vibe, but you know there's like more going on and you're trying to figure out what it is. And we still may not know what it is. Like it was good. Thought it was good. I can see why this series is really popular. So for the spoiler-free overall feeling, definitely pick it up if you like fantasy romance, if you like fae, if you like magic, if you like having kind of like that castle court royalty feel. It was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining. And I think the rest of the series will be good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about spoilers. This is where the book club discussion is going to start. So I will be saying specific things that will be spoilers for the book. If you have not read the book, pause the video, come back to it later after you've read it, unless you want everything spoiled for you. Okay, friends, what did we think? Did you guys like the book? Because I enjoyed it. I did. If I could really shorten that portion in the beginning, which we'll talk about, I think I would have really liked it. There was a lot that happened that I did not anticipate. Okay, I did not expect in the beginning when all of the like her power getting revealed was happening. I was not expecting that her mother kidnapped her, that she took her. That was a very interesting like reveal in the beginning that I think set up all of the reveals later with like who her family actually was and what her title is. Like all of these things I was not expecting when that reveal was made in the very beginning. So like I thought she did a really good job in connecting that throughout the series and like kind of making you forget and then just dropping it in on you. Like I loved that her brother was the one that was in jail. I loved that. I thought that was so good. I also loved that we found out that she's like the heir to her kingdom. I think there's more going on there. I think there's more with like her powers and who she is that we're going to find out about. So I don't know. I think there's more coming in the future books for that. Okay, the traveling. Let's talk about the traveling. It was a long travel, okay? It was a long travel. And I get it. It was supposed to be like building up her powers and doing the lessons. Part of me felt like in that traveling portion, she was hitting all of the tropes that we all love to see, right? The, bedroom at the inn, the protector, the like instigating enemies to lovers, forced proximity, like all of that stuff, like all the tropes were there. But I kind of felt like in that chunk in the beginning that it was a little forced. It just like wasn't fully cohesive as like a romance for me. It was like all the points were there, but I was struggling with it. And then they freaking separated and they went their own separate ways once they got to the damn city and they left with a kiss. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? I mean, like, we know it's an enemies to lovers, right? But it was just kind of like out of left field. And then they were separate. And I was like, well, this is fucking boring now. Like, what's going on? And so that part, I was very bored. I was like, where is this going? Why is this taking so long? And I know we were establishing like the rebels and, you know, getting her position in the castle, but I do think that that drug on a little bit too much for me. And I didn't really start, I don't want to say caring, but caring. I didn't really start caring until we found Lorien again. What can I say? I'm sorry. I'm a fantasy romance reader. They have to be around each other. That's when I care. So yeah, I started caring about that a lot more once we found out where he was. Sam and I talked about this already a little bit, but we were talking about how she could see Lorien when he was disguised. Now, I have a theory on that specifically. I knew from the moment that her mother told her to find the prince, I knew she was not talking about the human prince. I knew she was talking about the fae prince. Like, this is just from reading so many of these, like, this is what happens, right? You know, my author mind starts going because I'm like, how would I do this, right? So I knew from the very beginning that he was the fae prince, that Lorien was the fae prince. It was just a matter of time. I also knew this because they were talking about like their powers and he wasn't telling her what he had. And I was like, he's got more going on than we know. So I knew that the prince that she needed to find was him, right? And she found him. And I think that the reason why she saw him in her dreams and she could see him through the magic is because they are mates, right? So I think they are mates. That's my prediction. That is why all of a sudden he turned from leave me alone in his like letters to his brother, like leave me alone. I don't like this woman, whatever, to she's mine. She's coming home with me. He told her multiple times, like, you were made for me. So like, I think that they are mates. And that is why she could see through the magic, because it was her mate. I liked the like back and forth that they had, but at some times it felt kind of like, and maybe it's because of the mates thing, right? Like every time they saw each other, even though they hated each other, he was like going in for the makeout, right? And it just felt a little weird. I was like, but they were just literally yelling at it. And like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, yes, it's enemies to lovers, but it was just a little off. And then I think the only way to explain it is because they were mates. Like it was like that compulsion, right? So that's how I'm going to explain that away. I definitely knew that he was the prince. I definitely knew that the amulet that he was looking for, she mentioned it one time when she talked about how Priska was going into the queen's thing and there was like a sapphire on the mirror. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's it. So I knew that that's where she needed to go. I liked the other brother, like not the blood brother, but the adoptive, I'm going to call it, brother. I liked him, but I did feel like he was a little whiny and sometimes he got a little annoying. And that stretch of time where he was so involved in the story, I was just like, I want Lorien back, like go away. So I'm just trying to hit on all the different characters. I do like how we got some, you know, backstabbing and like court politics stuff. Like that was really fun. I like that we found out that the friend at the end was also a hybrid and had powers and they ended up like not hating each other and teaming up. Like that was really cool. I like that we have that friendship now. Her friend from home that she saved, like I just really liked a lot of the characters and I liked a lot of their interactions and I just thought it was so entertaining. The first chunk though, that is what really made me give it a soft 4 is because I had a very hard time getting through the journey and the separation once they were in the city. I was like kind of bored. But yeah, now that I recorded this, I can go read the second one because I can't ever read the second one until I finish the video. So I don't spoil things in the future. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I will definitely be reading the rest of the series. I hope it just continues to get better. Also, the poisoning scene. Oh, my heart. I loved it so much. I love when, you know, the life of the mate is threatened and then they go like absolutely feral. Love that. Love it. I live for that in books. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this book as much as I did. I hope that you liked the journey and the stuff that I found a little bit boring better than I did. And I hope you want to read the rest of the series. Thanks so much for reading along for Fun Size Book Club with me this month. Make sure to stick around for the next video to find out what we are reading for October. If you like reading fantasy and romance books, I post reviews on my channel weekly, so make sure to click like and subscribe if you want to be notified the next time I post a video. And if you like my reviews, if you like what I have to say about books, you should check out the book that I wrote, which is Dawn of Hope by Amanda Breyer. It is available on all the major retailers and Kindle Unlimited. So if you like the same things that I like, check out what I wrote. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys next time.